Hi, today I'm going to talk about scales. You may be wondering why there's a piece of cloth hanging off two of my strings. That's because I'm going to do it on just one string, which I'm tuned to G. It's very interesting to see scales laid out on one string. I was going to do it with a diddley bow, but I didn't want the slide to cause any confusion. Scales are patterns of whole steps and half steps. A half step is a distance from one fret to the next fret. That's a half step. A whole step is a distance from one fret to two frets. The chromatic scale, which we're not going to do a lot with today, but just as a defining point, is all half steps. You know, and if you need the names, I'm just going to say them this one time. Open G, first fret G sharp, second fret A, third fret A sharp, or B flat, but we're going to stick to sharps. B, C, C sharp, D, D sharp, E, F, no E sharp, F sharp, and then G again on the 12th fret. So the first scale I'm going to do is the minor pentatonic scale. And that's open, 3, 5, 7, 10, 12. And when you have a backing track, I've made a little backing track here with my circle looper, and it's just an ambiguous track. It's not major or minor, so it should work with all kinds of scales. So I'll just play that scale in context with a little backing. That's a sound you guys are probably pretty familiar with. And the next scale, which is very related, is the blues scale, which just adds the 6 here. Like that. So I'll play along with that a little bit. Sounds almost the same. And the interval was 3 frets, then skip a fret, then a half step, 3 frets, and then a whole step. So that's the pattern for that. You can call it 3 half steps. Some people call that space an augmented second. If you go to a fancy school, they say stuff like that. But 3 steps works for us. So, open, 3 steps, whole step, half step, 3 steps, whole step. That's the pattern for the blues scale. So now we're going to switch to the major scale. The major scale pattern is whole step, half step, whole step, half step. Now that seems like a lot, but it isn't, and you've heard it all your life. So once you do it, it's really easy. So that's open, whole step, which is 2, whole step, which is 4, half step, which is 5, whole step, major 7th, and then half step. Open, whole step, half step, whole step, half step. So you can sort of see how it's laid out there. I'll play that with the background. It probably at first, because you just heard a blues scale, probably at first sounded a little weird, and then hopefully it didn't sound weird. It's like, oh, okay, yeah, that works. That's cool. So that's what a major scale is. And of course, it would be exactly the same on your high string. And on your middle string, this is a G note, so it would start from here. So you would have, going backwards, your half step, your whole step, your whole step. And that would bring you to here. So you can figure that stuff out yourself, but seeing the scale really tells you how it's done. Now the major pentatonic, it just leaves out a couple notes of the major scale. So it's open, whole step, 3 half steps, whole step, and then 3 half steps. So I'll jam with that a little bit. Sounds a little more country to most people. So the next scale I like to throw at you today, before we go too far, I'm not going to do too many more scales. There's lots of scales. But I'm hoping that seeing them this way in my silly little lesson will help you understand their construction. We're going to do the natural minor scale. And that's a whole step, half step, whole step, whole step, half step, whole step, whole step. So you can really tell that note and this note. Some people look at it from the point of view of the major scale. The major scale, this is the major third, that's a flat third. This is the major 6, that's a flat 6. So a minor scale has a flat third and a flat 6. And what the numbers are just in the order that you do them. You know, the first note of the scale, the second, the third, so that's a third. If it's a major scale, it's a major third, it's a minor third. But that's all. There's no magic to it. So I'll put on my little backing track here and play a minor scale. Sounds a little Eleanor Rigby-ish maybe. So you can see that just using the same backing chords, it dramatically changes the feel by knowing the different scales. I'm going to show you one more scale, just for fun, the Byzantine scale. It's a really unique scale. It's a bit of fun to jam with. And that starts off with open. Well, they all start off with open today, don't they? Open, first fret, 4th fret, so 3 half steps, augmented second, half step to 5, whole step to 7, half step to the 8, and then another augmented second, and then the 12. So if you think about that, you had the 1 down here, well, that's the same as 13. So you got 3 notes in a row, and you've got that augmented second thing twice. Some people call it a double harmonic, because a harmonic minor has an augmented second in it. But so do the pentatonic scales. So it's not that big a deal. So I'll put that on so you can hear it. Sounding a little familiar, a little pulp fiction-ish. Since I mentioned it, I better play the harmonic minor for you. That's almost exactly the same as the natural minor. Starts off with open, and then 2, 3. So that's whole step, half step, whole step, whole step, half step, and here we have the 3 half steps for augmented second, or some people call it the harmonic leap, and then 12. So I hope my little lesson wasn't too weird for you, and you got something out of it. Have a great day. Bye.